growing up in Cornwall, and like, you know, I used to go fishing with my dad a lot, and like I know a lot of fishermen from down there, like Time and Nath, and I think like that sort of appreciation of like produce and like I like to. I'm like a nerd with that stuff. Like I like to learn about it.
So pardon the pun, but like swim more into that. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I love people's like foibles or like weird eccentric kind of obsessions. So talk to me about.
Yeah, like it's just that like I like knowing little things. I love like, I mean, oysters is the one now. Like I'm just like fucking obsessed with oysters. Like I was over at Carlingford like literally last week. Like I go over there and see.
That's an island, right?
Yeah, it's in Ireland. Yeah, so it's right on the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And Kean and Mary, who are there, they're like the most amazing people you've ever met. Like it's this family business. Like the oyster beds are unreal. And again, like people, you know, the oyster farm's 50 years old now, but like constantly looking to make things better. So like things like, so with oysters, like as they grow, like the way that you make this sort of like cupped sort of deep shell is oysters as they grow, the shell on the bottom makes this sort of like thin layer that comes up, and if you break it down, that's how you get that sort of teardrop shape by like chipping away at the shell. So as it grows sort of up like that. Do you know what I mean? Like what they do now is and the oysters are grown in like big sort of sacks that are like on these like sort of stands, these sort of metal stands, and they get there and shake the bags every day, and it's like very, very laborious, right? But now what they do is they put them in a spot where the tide is, and they have these floats. So as the bags come up, as the tide comes in, the bags float to the top, and the tide naturally shakes them to break the oysters. Do you know what I mean?
To
break it down so it gets an even better product. Wow. And that's like a new thing. Like, but I mean, like Kean's marine biology, like
I love people like this who get obsessed with some one thing and just
it's like it's learning new things. Like,
when did we start eating oysters? Like, what was the crap? I don't know if you know the answer to that, but
mate, honestly, there's a quote. It was like, it was a brave man the first man that ate an oyster. Like, I fucking hated oysters when I first ate it. I was like, this is gross.
Yeah, it's but like alien spunk.
Yeah, it's like a salty bogey.
Yeah.
Now I love them. I'm like, this is like amazing. And like so yeah, it's like that learning thing. So like went over to Carlingford last week. They're sitting in the sun drinking a pint of Guinness, like big box of oysters. We just sat there opening them, chatting, and like Kim was like talking about, so when you open an oyster often, and this is like something that I hate with chefs, like when they open it and there's like the top, when you open the top and there's the sort of the lid of the oyster, sometimes there's like a really thin layer of meat left on it because they've opened it a bit badly. And Kim was like, that's where all the glycogen is, it's called, and basically that's glycogen, and that's all the fat and like the sugar that's in the oyster. So basically when you eat an oyster, they filter like 55 liters of water a day. So basically when you taste an oyster, you're tasting where it's from. It's almost like wine. Do you know what I mean? It really
terroir.
Terroir, exactly, terroir. But like so much of how they absorb flavour is in that really thin layer on the top.
And loads of chefs just cut
Yeah, because they're just opening quickly. I've seen even the lads at work, I was like, sometimes they do it quickly, they're doing it, and I'm like, no, this is so important that you leave that. And I would tell them before, obviously, you don't want to waste nothing. But like I never knew that until literally last week. Do you know what I mean? That's where so much of the glycogen is kept, you know. So doing those things, like going over there, I wouldn't know that now if I didn't go over there and like have this conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a constant obsession.
And chatting to suppliers and like just absorbing, like because they're like, again, like he's obsessed with like making things good and making it better, and like to have those conversations. It's the same with like fishermen and all that.
Fish is interesting because apparently lobster used to be like a poor person's food. And then it got reinvented. Like you wouldn't eat lobster, and it's like that almost had a fucking reinvention.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you look at in places like Maine and sort of North America and things like that, there's like lobster shacks and stuff that are like that. And oysters is a great example, actually. Like oysters are now seen as quite like bougie. It's like an upmarket thing. But like this was like when I opened Pearly Queen, I was like, I want to like kind of not have that sort of like cachet to it. I want it to be like something
Well, you do the buffalo oysters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the buffalo ones.
Yeah, they're sick.
They're so good.
It's that is the democratisation of oysters.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, but like oysters were for years they were like poor people's food. Like that was the thing. Like in London, there was actually like a law of that was passed of how many times a week you could feed your servants oysters, because people were just panning oysters off to them. Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
Like, and you know that thing as well, like where it's you shouldn't eat shellfish when there's not an R in the month. Have you heard that? It's
No.
Oh, so it's like this thing, like people say, oh, don't eat shellfish when there's no R in the month, and that's down to the spawning season of native oysters, and you're still not allowed to sell native oysters from May to August, because that's the spawning season, and they were like overfished to the point like of near extinction.
Really?
Native oysters. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask some dumb like toddler questions here, mate. But what's the difference between an oyster and a mussel? Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, they're completely different species.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
different. Yeah, they're both like bivalves. So like bivalve is like anything that opens a shell like on two sides.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So yeah, but just completely
different species. Yeah. Mate, it's mad. One thing you said about, I either watched it on an Instagram video or read it somewhere, but you talked about like fish actually have like fat and you can render that down. Like, so what are some other, again, I love people who go all in on one thing. Like, I know we were talking about the punch 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever it is, yeah. So talk to me more about that, the fat in fish, what most people get wrong or misunderstand about fish.
I think the biggest thing that people get wrong with fish is fish is like if you said meat, like meat, in meat you've got lamb, you've got chicken, you've got beef, you've got pork, whatever, right? And then on a lamb you've got shoulder, you've got leg, you've got breast, you've got rack, and people don't look at fish in that way.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? They don't appreciate like the breakdown of it, and fish is exactly the same. Like mackerel, cod, turbot, they're all their own things, and they're so different to each other, and the different cooking methods that come with those things. If I look at like a gurnard, right? I'm not cooking gurnard. It's better for curing because it's the texture of the meat, the density, the fat content. And I think what people often do is look at fish as like one thing, as opposed to like breaking it down into those different sections. But like with like something like a salmon, you've got like the loin, you've got the belly, you've got like the collar, you've got the head, and people don't break it down into those different things, and they don't like look at it and assess it. I think with fish, it's a type of protein that it's not just one thing. Do you know what I mean? But people look at it in a certain way. And like there's Josh Nyland in Australia he's the god of this. Like the way, like, you know.
So who is he?
So Josh Nyland has these unbelievable restaurants in Australia, and he does like the fish butchery. Like that's his thing. He's like the fish butcher.
Yeah.
But so he approaches it like meat. Right, so he does lots of dry aging. I mean, everyone dry ages fish now. Like this guy was the fucking.
Well, because we had the charcuterie at the.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like that again. Like we like really took the inspiration for the charcuterie from
that was unreal, and that was so banging. I was going to ask at the end of the meal for more bread, but I thought you're absolutely wrong and to do that.
Right. Ask for it, like.
So sorry. So Josh, what was So he was sort of the first OG.
Yeah, he like really pioneered all that. Excuse me. And you know that looking at it of like, it's not just fish, it's not just like a thing that's sort of all encapsulated in one word. It's different avenues in those things, and like different styles of like this is what you do with this part of the fish, this is what you do with that sort of part of the fish. It's like, that's something that I think people don't do enough of. They just go, oh, it's fish, or oh, even within that they go, oh, it's turbot, or it's cod. But like when you break those different parts down,
what's like a fish that say most people think cooked this way, John Dory, whatever, and then what are some of the other like beautiful ways you can actually cook it?
Well, I mean, like all of them really. I mean, like bass is a prime example, right? So everyone goes, nice crispy skin, pan fried. But if you steam it, it's beautiful. If you bake it, like peel the skin off,
Yeah.
cure it, serve it raw, like it's just looking at it and going like, how is, and trying out things like making mistakes, like doing it one way, doing it a different way, and seeing what's best.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel, and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.